Kevin Millar, the MLB Network analyst, co-host of Intentional Talk. He won a World Series with the Red Sox. He was at Dodger Stadium last night. Home Run Derby, covering the All-Star Game. MLB's live All-Star Game coverage from L.A. gets underway at noon Eastern with Kevin Millar, Stephen Nelson co-hosting Intentional Talk from Dodger Stadium at 3:30 today. Great to talk to you, buddy. What kind of memories do you have playing at Dodger Stadium?
I have a video on my phone from a home run that I hit off, when I say video, a voicemail off of Chan Ho Park in 1999, Dodger Stadium. My dad got it off of Vin Scully's radio broadcast, and he was doing lab work. And to this day, I still have it on my phone. Out of the 95 different phones we've gone through, I have not lost that yet. So I do have to get down some kind of tape not to lose that.
But it wasn't a walk-off. It was just a home run.
Just a home run in the bullpen. As a little kid from LA City Junior College down the street, Dad had, as Scully goes, "That's a high drive and deep left field," and I have to have that forever.
That is great. Your last couple of years were Kershaw's first couple. Did you cross paths with Kershaw?
Never faced Kershaw. I mean, he throws an invisible slider, obviously the nasty curveball. Never faced him. I talked to Sean Casey about Kershaw. He had faced him. He said he's filthy, but I never crossed paths.
Wait, explain that. What kind of invisible slider?
It's like if you watch Kershaw pitch, right? We know the fastball, the big curveball. Then he has this little cutter that he throws, and it's that little cutter that just never gets there. It's down and in the righties. It's been his pitch the last 7-8 years.
If he was just coming up, what kind of pitcher, how would he be viewed if he threw this? He probably doesn't top out at, 94, maybe? 90, 95?
Yeah. I don't think he's near there. I think he's usually around 92 topping out. He probably pitches at 89 to 90. And then he's got that little cutter that he's put into play as his velocity's gone down. Every pitcher has to figure out this thing as they get older. CC Sabathia was a power pitcher, right? 98 cutters and sliders and 98. And then as he got older, he had to learn a two-seamer and a changeup and start working away off the plate. That's one thing that Clayton's done is he's adjusted to the lack of power with his fastball and still is able to compete.
Yeah, but I wonder where he would get drafted. Let's say he's just coming up and given what we ask of pitchers now or what we want from pitchers, you got to throw at least 95 to get their attention now, don't you?
Yeah, it's weird, Danny. It's the power. Everything's power, right? Everything's power. And you're right. What would he be? And you're looking at a kid, coming out of Dallas, Texas, throwing like he is. I mean, who knows if he's a first-round draft pick because he doesn't have the 95 in today's game.
What about Jeter? You have the documentary on ESPN, but coming up, he was slight. Didn't have a powerful arm, didn't hit for power. He ran, but, he's a first, top 5 or top 6 pick. But I wonder how we would view Jeter now coming out of high school.
Well, he's got the size, right? He's got height. He's got speed. He can play defense. So I still think he's right where he needs to be is that first round pick. Okay. And I mean, first round because of his ability to the stuff they judge, right? I didn't have a toolbox in that judge. I couldn't run, throw, hit, or field. Derek Jeter could do it all.
But how do you hit a Major League Baseball without, what do you have?
The ability, hand-eye coordination, right? As a kid, since 2 in the backyard with your dad and playing wiffle ball, everybody has the ability. It's like a hockey player. I mean, what they do on the ice, you and I get on the ice and slaps the stuff. It's the hand-eye coordination. That's what a baseball player has. And that's one thing I can do is put a ball to the bat. And that was something, but as far as running the 60-yard dash, 7.6, 7.7, throwing arm is probably a 20. Defensively, they're going to put you right there in the average thing, but below average because you can't run and there's no range. So that's why I always say, it's nice to see with your own eyes, but that sixth tool is somebody's, heart. Dustin Pedroia, he was a first rounder, 5'8", 5'9", and then you look up, years later, he's a Silver Slugger, he's an MVP. Jose Altuve. That's what makes this game great.
You know how many stolen bases you had in your career?
8, 7, 6.
7.
Thank you.
Do you remember all of them?
No, I remember 5 of them probably being. I was the back-ended steal that the catcher went to third instead of throwing me out at second.
Were you faster than Big Papi?
No, Big Papi's a better athlete than he gets credit for. He can play basketball. Papi's got quick little feet. They shuffle. He's got a shuffle like kind of run. When you're top heavy, you probably missed leg day about 6 years of his life. And I was that guy. So he was a shuffler.
How would you describe the reaction to Pujols last night?
Pretty awesome. I mean, I was happy. Like Miguel Cabrera, we had him on the show yesterday. Albert Pujols, when Commissioner calls Cabrera, and you're looking at, these guys, it's greatness, right? There's a lot of Latin players that looked up to these guys. They're their favorite players. That's what the All-Star Game's about, right? It's the storyline of stuff. Albert Pujols, obviously the back end of his career, obviously the last few years of the back end, but this guy was top 3 right-handers in the game ever.
Well, I still maintain when people say Mike Trout, boy, he's going to be one of the all-time greats. I said a couple of weeks ago, he should aspire to be Miguel Cabrera. Like, let's just start there. Because Miguel Cabrera, 500 home runs, 3,000 hits. I mean, he one of the great. Now, he's not, as good all around as Mike Trout is. But, Mike Trout's 30. Like, you start to look at, they want him to be Mays and Mantle and Aaron. And Miguel Cabrera is where I would probably start. What do you think of that?
No, it's interesting. You're right. And to be great, you have to be available. Now, Mike Trout's been available. I'm just using, this thing. We put guys as stars, right? Fernando Tatis Jr., what a talent, good looking. You look at him play and wiry when he's on the field. But Pujols, Manny Ramirez, Miguel Cabrera, they did this for 10 plus years at 30 and 100 and 330.
Yeah.
So they're available. They have a healthy baseball body. Not that anybody wants to get hurt, but there's some guys that just get hurt.
And I wonder what the conversation is going to be in 5 years about Ohtani. That are they going to be, they drafted all pitchers this last draft. Like, what are they building to something that is going to actually come to fruition where he's playing in playoff games?
Yeah, it's a tough thing because that organization, it's almost you need to do a street sweeper kind of figuring a few things out. They've spent money. They haven't spent money in the right way.
Yeah.
Something like Artie Moreno and the Angels haven't spent money. But some of the stuff, you're like, man, okay, geez. And then the falters down that they have never, since the Jared Weavers and Escobars and, when the Angels were good, but the starting staff that go into camp and go, yeah, I've got 3 big boys that can match up with the Walker Buehlers and the Clayton Kershaws if we get to the big dance, the DeGrom and the Max Scherzers if we get to the big dance. That's the question, right? You can have a great regular season, but you got to have 2 big boys to match up with anybody else's 2 big boys. End of story. And that's the postseason, right? Yankees have a wonderful year going. If they get to the postseason and run into a buzzsaw, then the season's kind of like, yeah,
it's
great.
A failure.
You won 100. Yeah. You won 110 games. Congratulations.
Would you rather see Ohtani at the plate or on the mound?
Man.
If you're the opposition.
Yeah, I'd rather see him at the plate. I mean, on the mound when he's on. I mean, the Angels do their 20-year anniversary, 2002. John Lackey and all the boys were there. And Ohtani, I think, struck out 13 that night. And it's an eye-opener for the guys that maybe don't watch baseball time. They're like, wow, what he does on that mound is pretty special. He's big, by the way.
I can't imagine an All-Star game starting out with 2 guys bigger than Ohtani and Aaron Judge going 1-2 against
I'm telling you, yeah.
Kershaw.
I mean, Judge is 6'7", 285 pounds of pure steel. Ohtani's 6'5", maybe closer to 6'6", but 6'5", runs well, but a big guy. Yesterday he comes up, I was trying to learn a phrase. And I look up, I'm like, these guys are huge, Danny. Like you and I are normal sized dudes. These guys are like Wow.
Well, it used to be if you were taller, you had the bigger strike zone, and that was always a detriment there. Is that still the case with being taller and having a bigger?
No.
Everybody's swinging for the fences anyway,
Right.
so what's it matter if you miss two as long as you get one?
It's crazy. It's crazy. You can strike out now 400 times. Like, oh, yeah, your launch angle's good. Your exit velocity was 109 on your 17 great swings this year. But it's a crazy game now. It's different. The shifts are different. But it's fun. These players are good, and the game's in a good spot. A good spot.
If not the Yankees versus the Dodgers in the World Series, then who?
Astros versus the Braves.
Okay.
Mets can get Buck Showalter. I'll tell you right now, Mets. It was cute coming up to the All-Star break because I know one thing: the Mets have dominated. Here the Braves are just coming. If they would have been in second place, not that would have been in the world, but that'd have been weird for the Mets, and it'd have been weird for Buck Showalter. But I know one thing: Buck Showalter was the right and the exact guy for the Mets. So the Mets, I'd put in that equation.
Any problem with Soto turning down 15 for 440?
No. Not at all. I don't have any problem with that. I have a problem with it getting out there. Who leaks this stuff? How does Ken Rosenthal get this story, right? And it's an organizational play maybe, or it's someone inside the scene. But honestly, God, if you and I are doing a deal and I choose to turn that down, and you're the owner or you're Rizzo, or how does it get out?
Yeah. Well, you want Soto to look bad, don't you?
That's the point, right? So now do you think? What? Soto can't look bad. He's a great kid. I mean, he's 23 years old. Listen to him speak. Watch him play. The strike zone, the ability. If you're paying guys, Max Scherzer $40+ million to make 28 to 30 starts if he's going to make them all, where's Juan Soto? He's not 25 million annual value.
And that offer is $420 million more than you made in your entire career.
Think about that. And that's why you and I are still working.
He made what you made by the All-Star break.
Clayton makes that per pitch.
I know.
I had to get a job 97 minutes after I was retired. I was like, the MLB Network launched. Thank God. I'd have been hitting fungos in Sioux Falls, wherever that. I don't even know Sioux Falls at. South Dakota?
Yeah, somewhere. Did you ever, like when you pulled up at Fenway in your car, like given everybody else in what they were driving, like could I tell which one's Millar's car?
No, I was paycheck to paycheck. I had the Hummer, the H2 with the wheels.
Oh, no.
And I had the system, and I had 1.5 in the seats, and I had the Harley, and I was a dude. I'll tell you this. My number was about 85,000. I never spent 180. Like everybody's got these, what are these things called? Those Mercedes, those you probably have one. They look like G-Wagons. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't spend $212 on a car, right? I was always at 67 Camaro. I was always in that scene.
Best car on the Red Sox World Series team was whose?
Papi. I mean, I told the story last night. I said, listen, we hosted a little scene for Papi at Marucci, and it was pretty awesome. When Torrey Hunter showed up and Albert Pujols was there, but it was just the story of him coming to pick me up in like a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla when I was with the Blue Jays in 2009. He was dressed in a collared shirt. He had no jewelry. And I joke around with him, and this is how we talked back then. So this isn't a bad thing. I said, dog, you're hitting 180 with 0 home runs. You're dressed like a white boy. You look like me, Papi. And I said, give me tomorrow. I want to be picked up in the Ferrari. I need the bling. I need the necklace. I need all the watches, the earrings. And he goes, bro, you're right. You're exactly right. He came and picked me up the next day. He had the red Ferrari with Papi on the front. He had every accessorized jewelry. He's worth $1.5 million on wrist. And he goes deep in the first inning. He looks at me and gives me the wink. But I said, that's you. You're Big Papi. You can't come dressed like me off the golf course.
A Honda Civic. Have fun today. I know your coverage starts in, you guys got to get ready, don't you? Coming up at noon?
We're live at 2.
Oh, 2.
Pacific
Okay.
time.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, great to
Then
talk.
we'll go back to bed.
All right. All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, dude. Thanks.
Kevin Millar, MLB Network analyst and coverage Live All-Star Game coverage gets underway at noon Eastern. Kevin Millar and Intentional Talk from Dodger Stadium at 3:30 today.